viewers, welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. That's a 2005 Honda Accord. It's got the big 3.0 in it and the wipers don't work. At least that's what Josh told me when he plugged or brought it in for me. Let's see how we turn this thing off. So he is correct, got nothing there. Oh, we got squirters. No mist, no high, no low. No nothing, just squirters, that's it. Whoa. 308,000 miles, 308, 910 on this little guy. I printed this out of wiring diagram, but quick and dirty before we get too far. I'm going to turn the key on. Put the wipers on high, I'm just going to jiggle the arm. Sometimes if a motor's just bad, it's like a starter motor, you know, you smack it with a hammer. Make sure I do have these on high. Okay, I hear relays clicking out here. So that's good. Just wanted to see sometimes I can bring it back to life, but nope, let's continue on with our testing, I suppose. Look at our diagram, see what we need to do. Looking at the diagram, it would be really nice to actually get right to the wiper motor itself and just, you know, see if we have the inputs to it. Which ultimately that's, you know, what we're going to have to do, I imagine. I think just looking at this and how it works, I see there is some wiper motor relays, the intermittent wiper relay, the washer relay, the high-speed relay, which is the one that I was hearing out here clicking. So that's good to know. We'll keep that in our mind. Just because a relay clicks doesn't mean it's good. What we'll do is I see there are some fuses associated with the wiper system. I'm not super concerned with which fuse does what, but I see there is under dash fuse relay box, left kick panel, fuse 7, 21, 20, and 11. All of them are, one is hot at all times, the other ones are hot in the on and start position. So I think what we'll do, just quick and dirty before we get down to the motor, is we will just make sure all 4 of those fuses that are associated with the system are good. And if they are, let's see, because we don't have high, low, nothing, we're probably just dealing with a bad motor or the ground for it. What we could do at that point, because it looks like we got to take the cowl off to get to it, or, you know, slice open that harness and poke wires, which we probably won't do. What was I going to say? Yeah, we could probably check to see if the output out of this relay is good. So, you know, that would be one of the few things we could do. So, anyhow, let's check the fuses real quick. Like, the key is in the on position, and we got 7, 21, 20, and 11. So we'll look at our road map here. 7 is the backup fuse. Let me make sure that's a 10 amp. It is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is number 7. Is good. Whoa! Hang on, if I'll get you all jacked up there. Got you resting on my clipboard. Number 21. What row is that? That is the second one in. That is the meter fuse. That's this one here. That one's good on both sides. Numero 20 is the third one in. That one's good. Alright, and then the last but not least is number 11. That's the big 30 amper down here. And that one's good. So all our associated fuses are good and powered up as they should be. Probably should just ordered a motor and took a guess. I'm just looking here to see if I could find the relays they have listed. They've got the high, intermittent, and washer relay. And it says underhood fuse relay box, left rear corner of engine, compartment forward of strut tower, which is this little guy right here. But I only see 3 relays here. Looks like we have some kind of blower motor, AC, rear defogger, so those. And then according to the little picture here, these are cooling fans. I don't know. Unless there's something under that, but that looks like it does have little tabs on it. Interesting. No, that doesn't feel separate, unless they're internal, which would be kind of silly. Well, what do we got down here? That's just a big connector. I don't know. Let's skip that without spending too much time. See if we can't get to the motor and just make our tests at the motor. We could be wrong and might have to backtrack it at that point. I do hear something clicking out here. Hey Jay, will you got a free second here? Click it from high to low on the wipers for me. I got the key on already. Just keep switching it from high to low. Yeah, it sounds like it's in here. Definitely in this box. Okay, that's good. Thanks, Jay. Without further ado, we will remove these wiper arms. It looks like the cowl might be split right here, so I think we might just have to pop the arms off to get what we need to get to. Get these little covers off here. There's those little guys. So these are just some covers that go over the wiper arm nuts. Looks like 17 mil. Love meters. Let's see here. Wow, it's right like that. First try. By loosen, I mean take them all the way off. Give them a little wiggle here. Ooh, there's that one. Set that one to the side. Wiggle that one. Set that one to the side. Don't mix them up now. Pull this rubber hood gasket off here. Looks like we have a plastic clip there. I got something going on here, this thing. I don't know why that thing comes off, but it does. If it shows us the wiper motor connector, that'll piss me off. I'll be slightly happy, but... Oh, I see. So this is where the washer hose comes over, and it looks like there's a barb connection right here for this squirter. So you can unhook that right there, apparently. Or you can just read service data and quit guessing. There's that. Put a clip down here in the corner. We'll see if we can get it out without breaking it. Maybe. I like plastic stuff, and then I don't like plastic stuff. It's kind of a love-hate thing we have going on. Let's see what kind of clip it is. Oh, it's one of those clips. I call them the mother lovers, because you can't get to the bottom of them to release them, so sometimes you have no choice but to do the dirty deed. Reminds me of a song about dirty deeds being done dirt cheap. Oh, look at that. It survived. I'm going to remove the hood strut, the bottom of it over here, if we can. Oh, there she goes. Fortunately, the hood didn't fall on me because I put a prop on it. Oh, we're getting closer. Let me have a look under the backside. So it has plastic pins up near the windshield. Let's see if I can put one of these out over here. Oh, there's that one. There's that one.
The gentleman with the Titan is here,
Oh, okay, the one that's supposed to be dropped off at 8 o'clock, but now it's noon, that one?
and he's got a list for you.
Oh, okay, good. So he wants to add more to his appointment and show up late. Perfect. There. That was easy. Now get to our connector. Now that we've gained access to the plug, looking at the wiring diagram, we should have, let me find it, we should have a full-time power and a full-time ground here, which we're going to want to check. 2-door and 4-door wiring diagrams are different on the connector pinouts, so you have to keep that in mind. I ended up printing out an OEM diagram. I got looking at the Mitchell one, and it just seemed to be confusing to me, which doesn't take much, folks. So pin number 1 on this 4-door, the gray connector, pin number 1 is black, and fuse number 11 goes to the green wire, so pin number 2. So black and green, we're gonna stick a 4 amp load on here, so we will find the black and the green, which are right side by side here. It should light this light regardless of wiper position, and it does, so we have a good power and a good ground there. Now we'll look and see if we can figure out what it takes to turn the low speed on. And sometimes, one thing I guess I can say, props to Honda, woo woo, hashtag Honda shout out, in their wiring diagrams, they have the little hyperlink. How does this circuit work? Because you sit there looking at all the mumbo jumbo and you're like, how does this work? Because there are some magical boxes. So there are some control modules and multiplexing that goes on. So simply click the button on the OEM data and it will take you to exactly how the circuit works in terms that a mechanic would want. You know, it's not just like, oh, you turn your switch on and your wipers turn on. It's a little more elaborate than that. So we will look and see what it takes to turn on the low speed, make sure we can make sense out of that circuit on the diagram. And if we can, verify it, test it, and move on. And we can read on low speed, it says here, and they write, when you move the wiper switch to the low position, the combination switch control unit is internally grounded, notifying the combination switch control unit of the request. The low speed wiper request is communicated from module to module across the multiplex communication lines. The relay control module will operate the intermittent and windshield wiper relay as needed to ground the low speed winding of the wiper motor for low speed operation. So we can actually learn a lot from that, that it's ultimately, once it goes through all the mumbo jumbo, we don't even have to look at wiring diagrams, so to speak, but we can look at the literature and see that once we put the stalk in the low setting for the wipers, that ultimately if everything works and everybody's happy, it sends a ground signal to the wiper motor. So therefore we can use, again, our high amp test light. We have to hook it into a power source, which we already know is good. And then we find the low speed wire that comes into that. And if we look on the 4-door, motor low input is the blue wire, so pin 3. So if we go from the low speed, pin 3, to the power, which is green. So let's see, what color is that? Blue. So from blue to green, they're right next to each other. So if we very gingerly front probe the blue, try that again, and the green, very gingerly do that. Hey Jay, could you reach in there and flick it on the low for us? This technically should light up if everything's good. All right, that's not intermittent, right? That is low.
Yeah, second one down.
Okay, yep, so that's low. Okay, turn it to high. Okay, that should go off and then back to off. That's off.
Yeah, I think I hit the wash, so it might have.
Oh, okay, so that's all the way up
That's
and
like-
off. Okay. All right, you hit the wash, which
Or
would be,
mist, whatever it was.
that would be low speed then, right? If you
Yeah.
pick it up on mist again. Okay, yep, so that must be the mist circuit too. So, and then again, we can read on the high speed. I assume high speed also controls it. When you move the wiper switch to the high position, the combination switch control unit is internally grounded, notifying the combination switch control unit of the request. The high speed wiper request is communicated module to module across multiplex lines. The relay control module will then operate the intermittent and high wiper relay as needed to ground the high speed wiper windings of the motor for high speed operation. So same thing, we just need the high speed side of the circuit, which is yellow, the yellow wire, pin 5 on a 4-door. So we go from yellow to green, because green being our full-time power, and then yellow being this little guy down here.
High.
Yep, go ahead and put on high. Yep, then to low. Okay, perfect. So we can see that the high and the low speed side of the circuit works. And being that we have nothing here with this thing plugged in, is it on high still, Jay?
It's off right now.
Go ahead and put it on high. We're gonna give it the old classic. Still nothing. She's broke. So with what we know now, because this doesn't work on high or low, we can make the call it needs a wiper motor. If you wanted to further your testing and check the intermittent circuit, I could read you all the mumbo jumbo again, but let's just assume it sends a ground signal to the, what do they call it? The combination switch control unit. once that receives it, showing that you have an intermittent selection, it grounds the low speed circuit. So we know the low speed circuit's good. But what it does at that point is the control unit is looking for the rotational position of the wiper motor. You know, how does it know when the wipers are parked? So inside the wiper motor, there's the park switch, which you can see here on the wiring diagram, and it momentarily hits the ground to let it know it's parked, or opens it, one or the other. I imagine it touches it. Let's see, 2 is in the run. So I don't know if it's grounded or open right offhand, but either way, we can trick it. We can put it in low or put it in intermittent. And will you reach in here and put it in intermittent for me, Josh? And it should ground a low speed circuit, which we have this plugged into. But even though it's on intermittent, it's staying lit up all the time because the control unit doesn't know that the wiper's made a full sweep yet back to park. So I've got my test light hooked to ground, and we can give it a false park sensation. So we'll just poke it into the white wire here. And then the control unit shuts off, and after a predetermined amount of time, it turns back on, the wipers cycle, it hits the park switch again, it shuts off, and it should turn back on its own. So that's how that works. So we know everything there works. That was just kind of a little extra stuff we didn't have to do, but in case you wanted to know. So we found a wiper motor at a local parts store, not a sponsor. I tell you who they are, but they're kind of a small store, and they're not world renowned like Napper, who does sponsor our show, by the way. So we're gonna try to undo this zip tie here. I can figure that out. And then we'll pull the whole wiper transmission out. And I think it must bolt on from the back side. So we'll unhook that zip tie so we don't break it. And we got the 10 millimeter, the only one left in existence. And that one. And a baby is born. So before we pop this little guy off here, it does appear to have, let me get a pointing apparatus. It appears to have some timing marks here. I see these 3 notches up here in the casting, and then you can see the arrow. And I assume this wiper motor, well, when we took it apart, it appeared to be in the park position. So what we'll do is we'll unhook the arm. We could look in service data and find out how to do it the real way, or we could just do it this way. We'll unhook the arm, unbolt the motor, and then once we get the new one, we'll bolt it on, plug it in, turn it on, let it go to park, and then put our wiper linkage back on here, which is pretty much the bell crank, I guess they would call it, is pretty well sitting straight with, you know, this arm on the transmission. So I think we'll be good. We got 17 mil here. We'll see if we can't crack it loose. There we go. Just got to give it a little jerk. Call it. You jerk! So undo that. Could find a more inappropriate tool to use. There's that. That's probably a tapered shaft would be my guess. We give me a screwdriver there, Josh. Screwdriver / pry bar. All right. Well, usually just give these things a wiggle. They're like the wiper arms. They pop right off, but I might have to turn off camera and hit it with a hammer. Try something else here, folks. Let's get this one wiper arm out of our way. Let me find the nut that held the whole thing together.
Weston, no. Hey.
Trini, what you got going on over there? Dog obedience class or what? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hear you over there. Give him the what for. Come on, baby. Oh, there it goes. See, that's all you had to do. So it's a tapered shaft. And then, well, I guess it doesn't matter what way that comes off. So that's off. Perfect. That was easy. And then, use a very long extension. Unbolt this little fella. There we go. The motor's off. If Ivan was here, he'd tear this thing apart. We'd have a no parts required fix, which I know you guys are just begging to take that cover off. The new wiper motor is here and installed, and it is a brand I never heard of. Let's see. WAI, I guess it is. WAI wiper motor. Not a sponsor. Don't know where it's from. You can take a guess though. We're gonna take, is the wipers off right now, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay, the wipers are off. Okay, turn them on high. Okay, shut it off. Okay, flick it up to mist. Let go of it. We got an intermittent.
What do you mean?
Oh, were you
Going
you
straight
kept flicking
up.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't flick it anymore. I just want to make darn sure it's in park. Okay, so the motor should be in its park position right now. So we're going to take and unplug that. We're going to line up our arrow with the middle notch because we think that's how we're supposed to do it. I'm going to hold that right there, and then we're going to tighten that back up on there before we cram it way down. We're going to plug it back in, make sure it parks right there again. Get my fingers out of the way. Go ahead and put it on high, Josh. Oh, shut it off. Ha! I didn't have it tight enough. Rookie. So I was attempting to use the OG nut and lock washer that comes on the original motor. This motor came with a nut, but it seemed kind of thin, so I elected to just swap that out. This flange nut, maybe it pushes a little different here. Okay, we'll just lightly snug that before we drive it home. It might cycle because I've moved it out of the park position. Nope. Okay, turn on high, Josh. Get back to park. Okay, back on again. Okay, yeah, I don't see them going the other. Okay, yep, that's good. All right. And then in park, our arrow does line back up in the middle of our notches there. So I'm going to take and cram this down all the way, and then we'll put it on and make sure everything's good. Set the wiper transmission back in. Now, before I hook up this zip tie, I do want to make sure that I have it timed correctly, and you will know immediately if you're slightly out of time. The easiest way to do that is just simply reinstall one of the wiper arms. Now we're going to take this windshield. I don't see any timing marks on it. Sometimes the windshield will have black dots where it wants, or slots, or little slashes where it wants the wiper arms, but we're going to kind of just guess where that goes and just temporarily install one wiper arm. So we'll stick that on there. And what'll happen is if you have it out of time, you'll notice your wiper arm will go down before it goes up. So it'll go down like it's finishing its park cycle because mechanically it's out of time on the way that bell crank works. We should be good, but it's just a quick check you can do before you put it all together to find out that your bell crank is slightly out of time. That bit on there a little better than I thought. You got some noise in it, didn't you?
Oh, terrible noise.
Transfer case noise?
It sounds like it's coming out of the front disc, but
Uh-oh.
it definitely sounds like a bucket of bolts when you put it four-wheel drive.
Yeah, it's probably that right front axle. It's probably stripped out of it, would be my guess.
Well, feels like I can come up on the truck.
So we're gonna move this over here. Now we'll watch that wiper arm, technically. Oh, I gotta get around you here, folks. Let me see what you see. Okay, now I see what you see. I think I see. This is the wiper arm, there we go. It should go up, technically. Of course, I have it up too high, that's why it hit the window frame over here, but what I'm checking to see is if it goes down before it goes up. And it doesn't, so we're good. So at this point, it's just a matter of putting the plastic jiggly bits back in here, which we will do. We'll take this nut back off. Take our arm back off, we'll put the zip tie back on, put all the plastic crap back on it, and then we'll be good. And then we also know that the position that we guessed for the park position is too high. It's, once we get the cowling put back on, they more so sit down close to the cowl, so we'll be good in that regards. I guess that's it. Let me get the plastic junk put back on here. If everything is right in the world, the stars align, these will work perfectly. Oh, you ding dong. You know what I didn't do? I left that cover off because I was supposed to hook up the wiper Squirt. Take two. Now if everything is right in the world and the stars and moons align, this will work. Hey, look at that, it works now. Needs a new wiper on this side, I noticed. That this one is pretty floppy on there and it's missing all the guts out of the middle of it. So she just kind of rotates around, so when this one comes up all the way, you can't see crap, folks. Let me move you over here. This one's all wiggly, and when it comes up, because it cocks around so much, all the guts are missing out of it. It's just held on just on a single pin. It comes up and does whack this corner on high under inertia. Oops, get the key under here. So if we throw it up on high, you can hear it just ticking this side. But they are parking in the correct position, all the way down, ½ inch off the cowl, and the intermittent should work now too, technically. Cross your fingers. Hey, they work. Whoa, hey, what's that guy? So that's that, folks. That is fixing and testing your wiper motor on your Honda Accord. Pretty simple. You know, overall, like if you were in the shop and, you know, running out these tests, you know, you wouldn't even have, you know, half an hour into it, start to finish, to find out definitively, is this a motor? And that's going to pretty much include your research time and getting the wiring diagram, how does the circuit work, making yourself some notes, going over there with a test light, and just real quick, you know, is it just a bad motor? The other way to do it is to just roll the diagnostic dice, order yourself a new motor and plug it in, see if it works. That is also way quicker. But if you're wrong, now you're stuck with, you know, $100 motor or whatever the motor costs. And that's all I can think of. The only other thing I can think of is that you guys should go down to that comment section. Questions, comments, concerns, everything you got down there. Somebody's here, I gotta roll. Just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.